Hey, welcome back to the Brew Nub channel. I'm Mike.
And I'm Joey.
And today we have some exciting news. We're going to do something a little bit different. What are we about to do, Joey?
So today we have our first chocolate stout.
Yes, it's going to be our first 5-gallon chocolate milk stout. So it might be a little bit rough, but we're going to be the ones making the mistakes for you. So just keep on watching and we'll go from there. Alright, so let's take a look at what's in the Brewer's Best Kit, Joey.
Alright, let's take a look what's in here. So, it brings a cheesecloth, some bottle caps.
This is the yeast packet.
These are labels. Brings 2 sets of hops. Some priming sugar. A cocoa spice pack. Lactose. It brings crushed Care Brown Supreme Malt, some crushed chocolate barley malt, and then we also have our dry malt extract, 2 packs, different kinds, and our
something new,
liquid extract.
Cool.
Okay, so for today's episode, we're gonna need a stock pot, a hop spider, a funnel, strainer,
giant mixing spoon, your blow-off assembly with bung, your airlock, a mason jar for the blow-off assembly, some water, about 6 gallons, and your carboy. Alright, so we finished up all the cleaning and sanitizing. Next, we're going to want to get ready for the steeping process. So I've already filled this pot up to 2 gallons, and this will require 2.5 gallons.
So right now we're going to pour in the other half gallon in there, and we want to bring this water up to between 150 to 165 degrees Fahrenheit.
So once we're up to that level, we'll come back and show you the steeping process. See you then.
All right, so now that our water is up to temperature between 150 to 165 degrees Fahrenheit, we want to ensure that it doesn't exceed 170 degrees Fahrenheit. That way it doesn't release any tannins. Right now we're about to insert the malts into the cheese stock, and what we want to do is make sure that we just break it up as fine as possible, so that way we get the most out of it.
So I have the crushed Care Brown Supreme Malt.
And I have the crushed chocolate barley malts.
Alright, so we've broken this up. We even did a little bit before, just to speed up the process. So let's get the cheesecloth ready. Alright. You got the scissors over there?
Yep.
Alright, cool. So we're going to give this a quick cut open. We'll put the cheesecloth into this box. As you're pouring this in, a lot of powder comes out. So if you don't want to make a mess, just make sure to put it into something that makes... Just make sure to place it into something like a box. So that's one.
It smells like Cocoa Puffs.
And then we got the second one in. Alright, cool.
Alright. Okay, so now...
Tie it.
Yep, we're going to tie it.
And then let's kind of mix this around really quick. And then we're going to have this sit for 20 minutes. Just make sure, again, not to go over 170. Joey, let's place that in. And then we have a toothpick right here so that it won't sink to the bottom. So after this is done steeping for 20 minutes, you'll have your wort. Just make sure as you're pulling this out that you don't squeeze because you don't want to release the extra tannins. And then we'll move on to the next step.
All right, so it's been 20 minutes since for the steeping process. And now what we're going to do is remove our malt. And we're going to make sure that we do not squeeze this because we don't want any of the extra tannins. And our water is now wort.
Cool. So we're going to bring this up to a boil, which is 212 Fahrenheit. And then we're going to have this sit in some warm water to kind of liquefy the extract. So once this is there, this is kind of loosened up, we'll show you the next steps. See you then. All right, so you got your wort up to the boiling point, which is 212. Now we're going to add our liquid extract, and we're going to make sure to continuously stir so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. So Joey, let's spray off the giant stirring spoon. Let's take this off. Hey.
Whoa.
Yep, this guy is really sticky.
Whoa.
So we're doing a pour slow. So as we're doing that, again, just make sure that you're constantly stirring so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. Here you go. Look at that liquid gold.
It looks like teriyaki.
It does. You think it tastes like it?
Probably not. You could try it.
So now we're going to add the dry malt extract. Again, continuously stir so it doesn't stick to the bottom. And just make sure to pour it in slow so that it doesn't boil over. Then last but not least, we're going to do the lactose. Alright, so as Joey's mixing this up, we're going to let this get back up to a boiling, which is 212. And then from there, we'll show you the next steps.
Alright, so now that we have our wort back up to temperature of 212, we're going to insert our first hops for the first hour, and then a half hour later, we're going to insert this other batch of hops.
So the first set of hops are going to be the Cascade hops. So those will go in now. And then within 30 minutes, you'll add the second batch of hops. Alright, so now that your hops have boiled in the wort for an hour, we're going to bring this over to an ice bath and bring this down to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The reason you're doing that is so when you pitch your yeast, you don't kill it. So we're going to let this sit in this ice bath, and once we finish that, we'll show you the final step. Alright, so we cooled our wort down to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And now we're going to clean out the carboy before we pitch the yeast. Remember, this is no rinse, so don't mind about the bubbles. They may fall into your carboy. Kind of got to scrape around because it's getting stuck with the extra hops that may have fallen through the hop spider. And now we're going to fill our carboy to the top. Let's give it a quick spray with the sanitizer. Okay, so we filled up the carboy with the wort and the water up to the top. And now we're going to pitch the yeast. Then the final step, we're going to clean off this guy. Well, almost the final step, we're going to clean off this guy. We're going to place this on top and we're going to shake this around. So, as we're shaking this up, make sure that you do not shake for more than a minute because you don't want to cause oxidation. All right, so you finish pitching your yeast. Now what we're going to do is set up the blow-off assembly. The point of this, as it starts to ferment, your wort will fill with CO2. And then you'll need this blow-off assembly for the gas to release. So Joey, let's get this mason jar set up. So now that you have your blow-off assembly assembled, what you'll do is make sure that you have your hose and the sanitizer and have something to keep it there that will make it hold, because as this ferments, it's going to get very active and this could fall out. So you'll want to keep this in a cool place between 64 and 72 degrees. And then in 5 days, we'll show you the last steps.
Several days later.
All right, so it's been 5 days and you're ready to add your chocolate nibs. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab your wort, and then you're going to want to grab your secondary fermenter. Once you clean it out with some sanitizer, you'll transfer your wort over, and then you'll add the chocolate nibs. So as you're prepping for that, take your spice pack and place it into the oven at 225 Fahrenheit for 10 to 12 minutes. So when you get to your 2-week mark, you're going to want to swap out the blow-off assembly for an airlock. Simply fill this up with your sanitizer to the fill line. Just plug that in and put it back in that dark, cool place for another 2 weeks. Once that's hit, you're ready to bottle. Now you can see how to bottle from this video here, or maybe it's over there. And with that said, you're done. We finished brewing. So thank you so much. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.
You got the wings, baby.
The wings.
The wings.